2, 1, and we're live. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Live Stream Stories. And today we are going to talk about how you can hook your viewers. Let me see, I got to see my thing here. Here we go with title, how to hook your viewers. I mean, the question is, when you're making a video, and when you're making any kind of video, whether it's pre-recorded or a live video, how do you get people to actually watch? And I'm going to challenge some of the conventional wisdom about this, because most everyone, and if you're here, raise your hand and say hello in the chat. I can see your chat. If you're coming in from Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn even, go ahead and put something in the chat so I know you're here. And this is what I want you to tell me. When you make a video, or it doesn't have to be a video, when you post any kind of content on social media, do you most often put some kind of educational how-to kind of thing where you are showing people how to do something? If you do how-to content, write how-to in the comments. And that's the thing that pretty much everybody does. It's pretty much what we've all been taught to do. Bring value, give generously, solve problems, tell people how to ease their pain, how to find that solution. This has been the way that just about everyone has been taught on, if I want to get people to watch my videos, I need to give them the very best information on how to solve a particular problem. And I am going to challenge that belief. I'm going to tell you that may not be the best thing you can do. In fact, it could be, in many ways, the worst thing, depending on when you do it. So this is the thing for today. Oh, look, somebody's here. Hey, Wendy. Wendy's here from Phoenix, and she says, rarely posting educational how-to content. Well, that's really cool. I'm really curious to know, well, what do you do? And what do you do to try and hook your viewers or capture attention? That's what we're going to talk about today. But before I jump into the answer to the question, how do you hook your viewers, I'm going to acknowledge and thank the sponsor of this video, which is Restream. Restream allows me and will allow you to multicast your live video so that when you go live, just like I'm doing right now, I can go live. In fact, I am going live onto Facebook and onto YouTube and onto LinkedIn and onto Twitter. In fact, I have over 30 choices and locations of where I could be broadcasting this stream in this moment to all these places. And the thing that I love about this is that when you're doing a live video, you have to look at it like you're hosting a live afternoon party or whatever time it is. And people are coming in, you have friends on LinkedIn, and then you may also have a bunch of people who follow you on YouTube. And of course, you may have people who follow you on Facebook, and maybe you've got a big Twitter following. Well, you can invite all of those people to join you, and they can be joining you on their platform of choice while they all come together in your live event. So you're creating a live event, you're creating a party, and you're the guest, you're the host, but all these people can come together and you can actually have them start interacting and meeting one another in this live setting, which I just think is really cool. And Restream makes it possible. It's really simple. You just go in and there's this live studio and it gives you the ability to put on titles like this one. The title of this episode is right here. And if you want to join Restream, use this link, restream.io/join/show-up. And if you use this link, you can join, you can get a free account. And if you ever upgrade into their professional levels, this link right here will give you a discount. There you go. So I paid the rent. And now we are going to go back to how in the world can you be hooking your viewers? How do you do that? How do you get people in so that they pay attention? In fact, when your video is going by in their feed and they're scrolling with their thumb really rapidly, how do you get them to stop and actually start watching and paying attention? And then when they start watching, what are you going to do that will keep them? This is the real trick. How do you keep them hooked so that they will watch your video all the way until the end? How do you do that? So the answer is not by teaching them something necessarily. I mean, educational content is really, really good. And there's a really good place for doing educational content in your video content creation strategy. But when you're wanting to grab attention, what you want to do is you want to provoke your audience. You want to challenge one of their beliefs so that all of a sudden they go, well, wait a minute, you're telling me something really different than what I've always thought to be true. You want to literally go at them and say, look, I know you've always been thinking this thing, and I'm going to stand over here and tell you that that's not true, or it's wrong, or it's old-fashioned, or it doesn't work anymore, or whatever it is that you're doing to challenge that original belief. So I just did this to you guys. I am standing here going, everyone thinks how-to content is the best thing to do in their videos, and I'm challenging that by saying, nope. If you're trying to get attention, what you want to do is actually challenge, come up with something challenging to their beliefs. I call this myth busting. And this is why this works. In the educational content development realm, it's huge. Like in the online world, if you have a question and you want to know how to do something, you can go online and you can type in the question that you have. How do I fix this problem? Whatever it is. And you will get thousands and thousands of answers to that question. And so when you go and make a piece of content that is the answer to the question that somebody can find on Google or any other search engine, you're right in the middle of a whole bunch of other pieces of content that is saying basically the same thing or answering the same questions, same thing. So by itself, that piece of education isn't going to be standing out. It's not going to be outstanding because it's literally buried under a pile of other pieces of content that are addressing the same issue, that are addressing the same problem. And so this is where, like, well, how do I get anybody to listen to me? How do I get anybody to pay attention to what I have to say? How do I get anybody to see that I have a unique point of view? And the way you accomplish that is you bust a myth. You come up with some belief system that you know your audience has, which you know because of your insight, you know isn't the best way to look at things. And so, I'll give you another example. In my world, it's all about video. And so I know that a lot of people think, oh, video takes too much time, or video costs way too much, it's too expensive, or video needs to be really complicated. How's this technical stuff? It's way too daunting to figure out all the technical equipment, all that stuff. These are things that people believe about making video. And I can come to the marketplace, I can come to them and say, well, actually, if you do it the wrong way, all those things are true. And you want to acknowledge their thinking. You don't want to tell them, hey, you're wrong, you're brainless, you aren't very smart about this. You don't want to say those things. You want to say, if you're doing it this way, then all of that stuff that you're worried about, that can really happen. However, if you do it this way, if you do this other new way, this kind of different perspective on how we look at things, if you go over here and look at this, you can make video in a way that doesn't take any time, doesn't cost any money, and is really simple. Like, it doesn't take much to figure out. You just say, pull out your phone, hit record, boom, you're making video. Really simple. So here I am challenging a belief. And this is way before I actually start talking about how to do it. This is really important. So step number one in this process is you come up with a limiting belief and you want to challenge that. You want to challenge the limiting beliefs of people in your audience, that this is the way they think, and you have a new way, a new approach a different way of looking at stuff, a different worldview that you can communicate. That's step number one. And if you're wondering like, well, how do I come up with the challenges or the limiting beliefs that my audience have? How do I figure that out? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because I have just the thing for you. I actually have a training that's right here at this link. And it's my myth busting training, and it's free. And if you go to the link that's right here, my site is awesomevideomakers.com, and you go to the page Break Through the Noise with hyphens in between. It's this link right here, awesomevideomakers.com/break through the noise. Go there, free training. And in that training, I actually have a template with a set of 5 questions that you can ask yourself about your audience that will bring to light all of these limiting beliefs that your audience has. And so not only will you come up with one, you'll come up with several ideas for myths that you can bust in your audience. So that's the first thing, is the myth. And then what you want to do, the next step, is you want to basically discredit or disprove the myth. And so like in the example that I gave you about video, or no, and I'm talking about like everybody's teaching how to content, that myth that everybody believes, I can give you an example of someone who's doing exact opposite. And in my world, probably the person who's most outstanding in social media marketing, and especially with video content, is Gary Vaynerchuk, who has this very successful video marketing agency that's based in Manhattan. And he literally pumps out content every day. Like, I don't know, he probably posts, 30 or 40 pieces of content each day. And a big bunch of it, like most of it, is video content in one form or another. And he posts all over on all these different channels. He's doing this all the time. However, he doesn't do any educational content. Zero. He never does educational content. And yet he's been able to be probably the most viewed, the most popular social media marketing thought leader in the space. Very successful. And yet he doesn't actually teach how to do social media content in his social media marketing. What he does is he reinforces the identities of the entrepreneurs that he wants to work with. And he's always talking about them and their mindset and their approach. And basically talking about hustling and working hard and believing in yourself and all of that kind of stuff. But it's not how to do social media. He just doesn't do that. And he's just a great example. So I am now showing you an example of how somebody can do something and be successful that is different than the conventional wisdom. And this is the kind of thing that you want to do in sort of step number 2. And so in this process, what you're achieving is that you are shifting, and this is important, you are shifting the perspective of the person who is watching you. And when you do this, when someone in their mind is going, oh my gosh, I've always thought that this was true. And now I've just seen that what I've always believed to be true is not actually the truth that I thought. It's, and now I'm shifting into this new way of looking at this part of the world. And this is really powerful. This is where you really capture people's attention, because as soon as you do this, now people are saying, wow, you hooked me in the beginning and now I want to know more. Now you've really got their attention. And this is really the thing about how do you hook your audience? How do you hook them in? So now they're going to pay attention to you because you are now describing this new worldview, this new vision that you have. So you've moved people from, you want to describe like the conventional wisdom as the old way, and you want to talk about this thing that you have as the insight as the new way. And the last part of this, the very last step, is you want to go from the old way to the new way, and the new way is your way. The new way is your method, your technique, the thing that you have developed. This is the thing that you are working with, and you are the one who can take people to the promised land in this case. So people are hooked, and now they're learning that if they really want to understand fully this thing that you're talking about, this new way of doing things, the only way to get it is in your particular case. So in my case, like I'll give you the example of me in my video world. Like if you want to be able to not be, burdened by social media content posting all the time. If you don't want to do that, like if you don't want to be you don't actually want to do what Gary Vaynerchuk does. You don't want to have to be posting 30, 40 times a day on multiple platforms. That's just nuts. You drive yourself crazy. It's a full-time job and then some just to do that. And it would take you completely away from the work that you actually want to do. So how do you solve this problem? Well, in my way, in the way that I am presenting, I call my way the Big Reach Video Method. And in the Big Reach Video Method, you can make one video per week, just like I'm making right now. And that live video that you're doing, that is hooking people in, and it's engaging them with your world, and you're taking them to this new perspective that you're sharing with them. You're taking them to this new way. You do all of that. And then when you're done, after your 20-minute, 30-minute live event that's been multicast all over the place because you've been using Restream, when you do all of that, then you can bring them to this place of you've got this thing going where, okay, my method is the answer to the question. And people will join you because your way of this new thing is the only place that they can get it. Like, here's the myth. The myth is the old-fashioned way of doing things. It's the conventional wisdom that's no longer true. It's the thing that doesn't work anymore. And now you've shown them that there's a new way of thinking, a new approach that works much better, that will save time, save money, or make more money, or lose more weight, or whatever it is that you're offering. And this new approach, which is busting the myth of the old approach, is your method. And now they're going, oh, I really want this. Like, they've seen the new perspective, and now the appetite for that is really desirable. And now they're coming your way, and they know that the only way to really follow through is with your particular way of doing things. And that makes you really attractive, which means that they're going to want to watch more of your videos, and they're going to want to sign up for your free trainings or your master classes or your group programs or whatever it is that you're offering, and the service and products that you deliver. These are all very attractive things. And the best part of all of this is that 80 to 90% of the selling that you need to do in your marketing, in your live video marketing, is being done through this shift of perspective, this perspective shift. By hooking them into your worldview, your way of thinking, your vision for this new way of approaching a particular problem. Now that they're hooked into that new vision, this is something that they believe in now. They now true believers. And if you can accomplish that, you win the game. You win the game. This is the thing. So I'm just looking at the comments here. So if you're here and this is resonating with you, you can write Mythbuster. This is time for a Mythbuster. And if we had, I should get a soundtrack to the Ghostbusters music, start playing that right now, and we could create uniforms and get vacuum cleaner like devices to go around and bust some myths. So I just want to put this thing up again so that, here we go. So we're talking about how to hook your viewers. And I just want to review the steps here because I went through all of this and I want to make sure you get all of these pieces. So I'm looking at my notes. So step number one is you basically find the myth. You go out and you create the story about how people are thinking now. You come up with this thing of, your audience is having a challenging belief. They're having a limited belief about something they're doing. And the truth is, for most things, the reason that people don't come and work with you, the reason that people haven't bought your program or signed up for the thing that you offer or bought your product, the reason that they haven't done that hasn't got anything to do with you. It's got to do with them and their own limited belief. They don't believe that they can do it. They believe that whatever it is that's stopping them is true for them, and they just need to settle for the situation that they're in. And so if you can come in and help them shift and bust that myth, the belief system that they have, so they get this new perspective and going, and then the second step, you talk about the myth, and then you want to discredit it in some way. And the best way to discredit it is to show them an example of someone or something that has succeeded in the new way, that has risen above, has transcended this limiting belief and actually gone and succeeded over here. And that can be any number of things. I mean, it could be a case study from one of your clients. That kind of thing works really, really well to help show that this new perspective is there and new perspective is true. And you want to describe the myth that they have and the limiting belief they have as the old way. And you want to describe the thing that you're bringing to the marketplace, the thing that you're suggesting is the new way as the new way. Like, this is the path to the promised land. And you want to marry those two things together. You want to just say that this new way is actually your way. And you want to tie it to your own offer, your own program, and say, actually, I call this method, and you can give it a name. And this is you, and it's your way. And now people who are hooked into this whole new perspective are now thinking, okay, well, this looks really good. I would like to learn more. I definitely want to find out about this. And the only real way that they can do that is to start working with you. And this is where, the door is open. And when you get on a call with someone, it gets much easier. The conversation you have is much, much easier. And they're likely to, come in the room and start joining hands with you and throwing money at you and saying, here's my credit card. I'll sign up right over here. All of that is true. So cool. And just getting back to my captions here. So if you want to know more about how to do this, you can join me. I have a free training that's all about myth busting. As I said, this training includes, there's a video that walks through this whole process in much greater depth than I have time to do right here. And there are templates where if you're wanting to come up with because this is the big hard part, it's like, okay, so how do I come up with content that's going to challenge my audience's limited belief? This is the work. And I've created a set of questions that you can use, anyone can use, to ask themselves and to talk about their audience and what they have to think. And you will come up with many, many pieces of content that you can now do. And when you come to come to your world, you get onto Facebook or you get onto LinkedIn and you post a piece of content that, instead of saying, here, let me help you solve this problem, is saying, hey, I know that a whole bunch of you have thought that this is true. And guess what? It's not as true as you think it is. When you do that, you start capturing people's attention. And either the people will be in two camps. Either one camp will be really curious, and there'll be another camp of people resisting, and they'll be there with their arms closed going, hey, wait a minute, you can't tell me that. I know what's true. I know the truth. But either way, in both parties, they will be interested. They will be curious enough to pay attention to watch your video. And of course, this myth busting, you can use it all over the place. I mean, you can definitely use it to good effect in your videos. And you can use it in any kind of post that you do, any kind of social media post that you put up. You can still relate these kinds of stories and just be going through these 4 steps where you name the myth, you discredit the myth and prove that, the myth doesn't work and that there's other alternate way to do it. You want to describe and position that the myth is the old way and the non-functional way, and the thing that you're describing is the new way and the way that really works well right now, and that new way is yours. You want to tie it to your own work and your own methodology and give it a name. And that's it. That is the formula for how you do myth busting. And it's actually really effective, and it's really simple. And how this can fit with all of the other stuff you do. Like, I know that many of us, myself included, have been and will continue to also do educational content. That's going to remain to be true. That will still want to happen. And so where this fits is that once people have now come into your worldview, they will still have problems. They will still have a lot of things that they're dealing with that your business is here to solve. And so once they're hooked, now you can start helping them out. You can demonstrate to them, this is really important, you can demonstrate to them that you can help them by actually helping them. But the key to doing that, really well, is capturing their attention first. And I don't know of any other thing, of all the things that I've seen, all the things that I've tried, I haven't come across anything as effective as this myth busting method in terms of capturing attention and hooking people into your way of thinking, which now becomes their way of thinking. And literally what you're doing here is you're building a movement. You're building a tribe of people who are now in this new camp, in this new worldview. And it is probably one of the most powerful things that you can do. Right. So I just want to mention that once again, this whole show has been sponsored by Restream. And if you want to join Restream, and if you want to go out there and bust myths, and you want to do it in a major way in terms of busting myths all over social media, up to 30 different destinations. You could be going live onto your Facebook page, your profile page, your business page, your personal brand page, your private group page, all of the above, all at the same time. You can schedule this in advance. You can schedule all your streams in advance, and then they're posted and you can promote them ahead of time, and you can invite all your people in. You can send them a unique URL and say, here to your email list, people, come to my Greek online party that's happening tomorrow afternoon at 3:00. And that's what you can do. And all of this is possible with Restream. And if you want to sign up, you can sign up, and it's free to begin. It's right over here. Put this finger up. There we go. Right here, restream.io/join/showup. And if you ever do decide to upgrade to the better, more professional service of Restream, using this link will give you a discount. And last but not least, if you want to join my free myth-busting training, then go here, right here, awesomevideomakers.com/breakthroughthenoise. If you go there, you'll get instant access. You can start creating the myths that you want to bust and go out there and start hooking all your viewers. Start hooking those viewers, grabbing their attention, reeling them in. Cool. So I'm just reading the comments here. Important live stream, low watchers, socks, too many watchers. I'm not sure I understand this question. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. That's kind of what I had for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining. It's always a pleasure. And don't forget, I'm going live every single Thursday at 3 3 p.m. Eastern time. So next Thursday, you can join me. Next Thursday, I have a great guest who is a fitness coach, and she has been doing live fitness classes. She has a unique approach to fitness. It's this method. It's kind of like a combination of Pilates and kickboxing. It's really cool. But what's interesting is the way in which she's set herself up. I mean, we're all working from home, right? And she has a home studio. She has a home studio, and she's got 2 cameras pointed at her so that when she literally, it's a live class. She puts it online, it's streamed, it's free. You can just jump on and start working out with her. And she's facing one camera, but then she has a camera over off to the side. And so when you're seeing her, it's this split screen so that you can see the front of her and you can see the side view. And so when she does something like a deep lunge, you can see exactly how she's placing her feet and how you want to place your feet. Because if you only had one view, you wouldn't see all these little details. And it's really, really clever. It's really well done. And it's really simple. So if you're any kind of person who teaches like this, who creates content, movement content, places where people need to see something, like let's say you bake muffins in your kitchen and you want to do something live where you're showing people how to do this. Her method, her setup in her studio, which we're going to walk through next week at Thursday at 3 o'clock, this is what we're going to talk about. So stay tuned for that. And cool, Stephen is here and he says, Mythbusters, excellent information. The training signed up. Yay, he signed up for the training. Excellent. Content looks professionally done. Very promising. All right. Well, welcome, Stephen. Really glad to have you join me. And that's too cool. And the rest of you guys, if you're interested in that training, I'll put that caption right up again. So the link is right here, awesomevideomakers.com/breakthrough-the-noise. And you can join Stephen and I in the training, get instant access, takes you right in, boom, and you're there. And there's a video and there's questions where you can workshop your way into your own myth busting series. And let me tell you, there's nothing like busting a good myth to make your day. All right, that's what I have for you today. I'm signing off, and I will see you next Thursday at 3.